I lived in a funeral home for about a year while I was in college. Let me preface this by saying it wasn't a full-time funeral home. It only got used about 3 times a year. The director had retired but still opened up shop to help out family, friends, and the like. I lived on the 2nd floor, and some friends lived on the 3rd floor. The 1st floor was an elaborate funeral parlor complete with a crematorium, embalming room, and a small chapel attached to the side. It wasn't in the best condition. In the summer, we cranked the AC window units and, without fail, the breaker would flip. We had way too much power between gaming and AC units for that place to sustain power in the summer for very long. Someone would be designated with the grim task of going into the basement through the parlor, down the grungy, terrifying stairs, through the casket display room, and into the laundry room to flip the breaker. One night in July, the breaker flipped. The main difference between this instance and all the others was the body sitting downstairs. It was an elderly woman. No one had really showed up to the ceremony, and it was a sad affair all around. I laid in bed thinking to myself that I could deal with the heat and the sweat and just make it to the morning. There was absolutely no way I was walking down those stairs and going past that body to get to the basement. I kept having these visions of this old woman just sitting upright in the casket and gunning for me 28 days later style. So I texted my roommates, who were all home for the weekend, and advised of the issue. After about an hour in the heat, it became fairly clear that I wasn't going to get an ounce of sleep, and I was drenched in sweat. My roommate, who shared the 2nd floor with me, advised on the loaded handgun he kept under his mattress, and I quote, just in case a corpse comes running up the stairs. It was already loaded, so I grabbed that thing and made a run for it. I sprinted as fast as I could, turning every light on that I could along the way. Flipped the breaker, ran back upstairs, past the body, and didn't even bother turning a single light off on the way back up. Scariest moment ever. Beginning. While I was looking at colleges, my dad graciously agreed to take me to Louisiana State University for a tour. We made a vacation out of it and stopped in New Orleans for several days. We stayed in this hotel, the Lamont, which is supposedly haunted by several little kids and their mother. That's part of the reason my dad picked it. He knows I love the paranormal and am a full believer in spirits and ghosts. Anyway, I know realistically that the stories are probably made up to generate business. It's NOLA, after all, but I'm still loving the place. We get to our room and it's set up pretty neat. You walk in and you're standing in a small living area that has a bathroom off it, and you walk around a sort of half wall to get to the main bedroom. There's a tiny 2nd bedroom about the size of a walk-in closet behind a slatted door. This is where I slept. Pertinent information. First incident. The first night, we're all setting up our stuff in the bathroom. There's a little table thing with a drawer that we decide to put some stuff in, but when we try to open it, we realize it's painted shut. Oh well. We get settled in and decide to sit out by the pool a while. We come back an hour or 2 later, and my then 9-year-old, easily spooked brother goes to the bathroom and discovers this drawer pulled all the way out. Dad ends up telling brother that has opened the drawer before we went to the pool and left it open as a joke. Dad pulls me aside later and nervously explains that he did no such thing and has no idea how the drawer came to be open. Gives me goosebumps, but I think it's cool more than scary. Second incident. Our second and last night there. Dad goes to get ice from the ice machine for our ice bucket for tea or whatever, but the machine was empty except for a recently used crack pipe, which my dad, a cop at the time, confiscated. Oh well, we drink warm tea and go to bed soon after, leaving the bathroom light on for my brother. At exactly 3, I wake up, for no good reason. I look at my door and see a vague outline of a person through the slats, but the light's too dim to really make out any details. Dad? No answer. It's way too tall, but Gabriel? Nothing. I keep staring at this thing and I get the odd feeling that it's staring back, but I have no reason to think it's even facing me. I get this feeling of pure hatred directed toward me, and I start shaking, but I stay in bed. A terror I haven't felt since the time I thought my stepdad killed my mom creeps over me, all because of this black, human-looking mass. I try to talk myself down in my head, try to calm down, because I'm on the verge of an all-out panic attack. It kinda works, and I start to think I'm overreacting and maybe it's a weird shadow or something, because it didn't move for several minutes, when suddenly it just drops to the floor, faster than I've ever seen anything fall. Before I have a chance to do anything, I hear the unmistakable sound of ice being shaken in a plastic bucket and a wet sort of sliding sound. I briefly consider going to investigate, but decide nope that and roll over and go back to sleep. The next morning, I wake up with massive bruises up and down my legs. I bust out of the room and show my dad, and I'm telling him what I saw the night before, brother's in the shower, so I'm not scaring him, when I notice the ice bucket is on the opposite end of the dresser from where it had been, and there's a line of water behind it all the way to where it had been sitting originally. I feel the blood drain from my face and ask my dad if he went and got ice finally. He tells me no, looks and sees what I see, and goes white. We didn't even look to see if there was anything in the bucket. We just packed all our shit and hustled Gabe out of the shower so we could check out early. Hi everyone, at 18, I had a job about 10 minutes away from my dad's house, but I lived with my mom about 30 minutes away. It was not uncommon for me to stop by my dad's for a sandwich or something before heading home after I got off work. One such day, my dad calls and says he has to work late. Could I go by the house to let the dog out so he won't pee in the house? I say sure, I was gonna stop by anyway. It's important to note that my dad's house had been broken into about 3 months before, and it made me skittish to be there after that, but not enough to keep me away. I go to the house, the dog's jumping all over me, so I'm looking down at him the whole time I walk through the hall and den to let him out the back door, not paying attention to my surroundings. When I finally look up, I realize the place is totally wrecked. Drawers opened, papers, books, and just stuff thrown everywhere, closet doors standing open, as well as the door to the garage, which is always kept closed to keep my toddler sister from getting hurt. Now, I've been in the house for about 5 minutes at this point and haven't bothered to be quiet, so I figure since no one's attacked me yet, they're either already gone or hiding and waiting for me to leave. So I call my dad, tell him what's going on. He tells me to go to our neighbors while he calls the cops and heads home. We hang up, I grab the dog, call my mom and tell her I'll be late coming home. As I go to grab the leash off the stairs by the front door, I see shadows moving upstairs out of the corner of my eye. I scream bloody murder and bolt to my car, carrying the dog like a baby, and drive down the street a bit, freaking out the whole time. I see the cops pull up with my dad right behind them, so I go back over. They clear the house, and it turns out what I saw were the shadows of the fan blades from my dad's room upstairs. I felt kinda dumb, but I mean, the house had been broken into for the second time, so I didn't feel that dumb.